Hello and welcome back to Feel the Force. We are, as we continue to shift into the age of Aquarius, the lower vibrations of, for instance, narcissism is coming up to be seen and dissolved, because where there is light, you're exposed and there's nowhere to run and there's nowhere to hide. So one symptom of this new age of Aquarius is that a lot of the old dysfunctional vibrations, such as narcissism, are really going to come up to be seen, come out of the shadows, really. Speaking of which, out of the shadows, there was a documentary called Out of the Shadows about the cabal that run the world and their inherent narcissism, and how they have essentially been controlling the narrative of society for hundreds of years. So for this part 3, dear Georgios, my first question for you is, why does the narcissist need to control the narrative?
Because he's afraid that the narrative is not his to command. He feels he has no power over his narrative. So he has to try very, very hard to deal with that, because it goes back to the term ontological security. He doesn't have the security of having a safe base, of having the feeling that his needs will be provided for. He feels that they won't. No matter what he do, he will always feel like everything's going to fall apart. And this feeling of doom and gloom, it creates this dysregulation, this anxiety within him. And this anxiety needs to be regulated. And he does this through the most simple, straightforward means possible, which is through rage, through control, through changing his immediate environment. So his internal emotional landscape gets calmed down. So it seems like things are under control, because literally he is controlling stuff around him.
Yeah, because, controlling the narrative also means controlling and manipulating the perceptions of others who could be more naive, more vulnerable, saying that, for instance, COVID is real, or you need to wear a mask to protect yourself, and that social distancing is the way forward. And all of these completely counterintuitive things that make actually no common sense. So why have people actually bought into this controlled narrative? Why is that?
Because they're afraid of making the wrong decision, of following their own intuition, and for the repercussions. But for the narcissist in particular, the narcissistic issue is that I must control the narrative because I just feel like other people will judge me. They will reject me. It's this chronic sense of I'm going to be abandoned if my narrative is not in alignment with everyone else's. So the narcissist actually, he tries everything in his toolbox So you buy into his delusion. So you believe what he is thinking and doing. Because he has to control what you're thinking, what you're feeling, simply because he is convinced on a subconscious level that nobody is going to care about what he has to say. So he has to tyrannically force others or persuade them, coerce them, manipulate them to align with him instead.
So those who are in power are actually powerless.
Yeah, it's always this insecurity that is trying to be compensated for.
Yeah.
Like every time you see someone like a politician or someone who is in authority who got there by doing things that put other people at risk, where other people have to pay a price for it. It's because they're just very, very, very focused on getting that power, that validation. Hey, but I am good enough. I am worthy. I'm valuable. Look what I've accomplished. But it's not about others at all. The narcissist always tells you, oh, it's because other people are judging me, so I'll have to be perfect and have to protect myself from their judgment. But actually, it's his own judgment. It's own inner persecutor, which we touched upon earlier in part 1 and 2. It always goes back to the inner persecutor, which has to be compensated by external means.
Yeah.
So these people, like some of these, we don't want to mention names, but some of these politicians, they're some of the most insecure people on the planet. They have to be extremely insecure to actually have the ambition to do something like that. And of course, it goes back to the completely destroyed value system of a narcissist.
Yeah.
Being completely into the wrong values, but it's all about appearances. It's all about what would other people think if I did this. Oh, other people generally would think that I am a good person or I'm very powerful if I do this. And that's why I'm doing it. It's a costume.
So would you reckon that if the narcissist would actually own up to his own insecurity, that would shift things? To actually take a look and say, actually, yeah, I am insecure, and that's okay.
Yes.
Because Alan Watts wrote a book called The Wisdom of Insecurity, a message for the age of anxiety, and saying that the more we try to hold on to things and grasp and control things, the more it eludes you. But once you kind of like let go and just accept the human condition, that yeah, it's okay to be insecure, and just surrender to the fact that yeah, it's also a kind of deeper self-acceptance of the shadows. Like, yes, there's the underlying angst, there's the underlying insecurity, and that's the vulnerability that the narcissist is constantly avoiding.
The problem that I found, and I'm talking from a somatic practitioner's perspective now, but every time we deal with dysregulation of any kind, right? Insecurity is a cause for being dysregulated. Narcissists are chronically dysregulated people. The problem I see there is that they always have psychosomatic symptoms to accompany this dysregulation. So it's not just, okay, I'm insecure, I'm afraid. It's not just mental, not even just emotional. It's also physiological. The narcissist actually physically feels sick, feels ill from the dysregulation. Like, I could give examples. Some people, they get cramps, like their bowels shut down. Some people get constipated because they're somatically frozen, so the body reflects that. Some people,
Mm.
they feel the inner persecutor focusing on a certain part of the body. So let's say it's about appearances, and a somatic narcissist. He will feel somatic symptoms maybe in the heart and in the back problems because of carrying the weight of other people's eyes looking at me. Like, this,
Yeah.
the evil eye,
Mm-hmm.
the myth
Yeah.
of the evil eye.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, if I was being cynical, which I'm not, but if I was, I would say the evil eye was invented by narcissists. Because for the narcissist, there's always an evil eye watching them. And it's such a problem for them because they feel physically ill if they
Yeah.
don't do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's why they project outwards. Because when it's outwards, when it's outside, they feel like they can control it, they can do something about it.
Yeah.
If it's inside, we don't know what to do. Like, nobody knows anything about somatic experiencing or how about working with this kind of stuff. Narcissists are completely abandoned. So it's not really, I would say it's not the narcissist's fault only. The main issue is society as a whole for not providing any solution, any alternative to the narcissist, really.
Yeah.
He's not getting any help. Nobody is getting any help. And that's why it's getting worse. That's why it's getting more and more narcissists.
So yeah, whilst we're on this topic, did you want to, as a sort of interlude, touch on what you do with the somatic work?
Yeah, so I did have some narcissistic clients. And in the somatic work, the thing is, the narcissist struggles feeling his feelings and validating them to himself or herself. So I simply do some very simple exercises. I ask the narcissist, the client, where do you feel this? When I ask you about this, what do you feel in the body? And I tell the client beforehand, you could get triggered and you could feel very uncomfortable during the session. So please tell me if you feel uncomfortable, right? So the narcissist, if it is a narcissist, tells me when they feel the trigger. And I ask them, where do you feel this in the body? Because the body is showing the trigger. And could be something in the throat, could be something in the stomach, a cramp, heaviness, feeling uncomfortable, feeling tension, feeling burning, hot or cold, tingling, racing thoughts, could be the mind going blank, could be something in the head, something heavy, anything. And because I ask them where it's happening and what is it like, they become aware of that. And they create containment. It's very important for the narcissist to feel like it's safe to share how he's feeling. The other person actually wants to know. what they're feeling. Because the narcissist has been programmed all his life, hide your feelings at all costs, hide your feelings. So he's actually also hiding it from himself. So he tried to overcome the splitting mechanism. And during the session, the narcissist becomes aware when he's splitting, when he's drifting away and dissociating. Because during the sessions of narcissists, I notice they dissociate a lot. Every time they are triggered, basically, there's two options. Either the narcissist dissociates and they try to wait. It's almost like, move on, forget that this happened. Move on to the next thing, quickly. Like a child that is like very nervous and you need to keep going when it's triggered. Or option two, the narcissist feels angry, like, why are you making me triggered? How dare you? Is like this helplessness every time it's triggered. And then the mind is like, it's looking for threats because there's no rational explanation for why the narcissist feels so dysregulated. There's no rational explanation, like, when you deal with narcissists. So they try to rationalize it by saying, oh, it's me, right? As the therapist. That's why therapists don't like to work with narcissists. I also experience what I always get blamed, but that's not an issue. If you can tell the client to focus on the feelings and just relay that, not do anything else.
Wow. That's great.
I had one client, he said every time he felt guilty because his mind became aware that he was responsible for what he was doing, his head was doing this very quickly. Like a child, the body was trying to shake the guilt off. If the narcissist, the client, he felt so helpless to the guilt. It's like, I can't feel guilty, I'm going to die. Because as a child, he has experienced, my mother will abandon me and reject me when I am guilty of something. Every time. So I simply cannot be guilty. I cannot afford to be guilty. Because of a child, it's a death sentence when mother leaves. It's going to die. So it will feel like he's dying.
Yeah.
So that's why you can try to reason with a narcissist. You can talk to them. You can try to hold them accountable. You can give them proof of what they've been doing, right? Like pictures, documentation. We all know this kind of stuff. It's not going to work. Because it's just death. It's a death sentence, it feels like. The solution that I found, they have to go through the death sentence. There's no other way. They have to actually, it's almost like you have to shake them. Their body wants to shake. So I tried to do some shaking with the client. So they can feel the body, what it's trying to do. But it's okay to be shaking, basically. It's okay to be falling apart. And you can try this, maybe, if you're living with a narcissist, right? If you have a partner as a narcissist.
Yeah.
If you need to hold them accountable, if they're blaming you, right, for something that they did,
Yeah.
then tell them it's okay to fall apart. Tell them it's okay to to feel completely destroyed and whatever. Of course, it's not going to work, but in a session, it does work sometimes. It really depends on the situation. I can give you one more example.
Hmm.
And this is really, really simple. So a house burned down. The people evacuated the building. They called the fire brigade, and an ambulance came. And the house is destroyed, and this guy is sitting on the ambulance, and his body is shaking from the shock, because it's been so traumatic to lose all your material possessions, see your house burn down, maybe someone even died. So his body is doing this kind of thing. And then this nurse from the ambulance comes, talks to him, and the nurse says, no, just calm down, everything's fine now, you're safe now. Just relax. And then the guy is like, oh, like, what do you mean, relax? Like, but the guy thinks, okay, yeah, you're right. Rationally, I'm okay now, so I should relax. His body is saying, no, don't relax. His mind is saying, and the nurse is validating, society is validating, relax. And then he suppresses the shaking. So he becomes frozen. He literally dissociates. He's like this, like a frozen block. And then the nurse is like, see, now you're relaxed. Great.
Yeah, it's like gaslighting, isn't it?
And the guy completely feels so dysregulated now because his body stopped releasing the trauma and it gets stuck in the system.
Yeah.
And he thinks this is what he's supposed to do. The nurse thinks, oh no, you can't shake, it's dangerous, you're going to go into cardiac arrest, or you're going to whatever, catastrophizing because somebody is releasing trauma from his body. Oh no, don't you dare. So that's the problem we see with this rise of narcissism. But the whole society is responsible for this problem. When you go to school and you're angry at the teacher or at the student, everyone tells you, oh no, knock it off, calm down, stop being angry. Okay,
Yes.
rationally you can, but the body is still angry. Doesn't matter if you tell it to stop or that it's safe. It has to do its thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, in terms of the whole, oh, you need to calm down, relax thing.
Never works.
I had a friend who's not a friend anymore, and whenever I was stating some rather bold facts in, well, this sort of tone of voice, really, I don't sound necessarily upset or anything. Like, stating some facts about, something that's wrong. Basically, it's like, actually, this is wrong. Da, 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 da. And then he went, oh, you need to calm down and relax. But he said it in a really angsty way. Like he was trying to control the narrative, control the situation. Even though I was just being, very frank and bold about stating some facts about some, well, like basically whistleblowing about some shit that wasn't right. And then he, was saying, oh, you need to calm down, relax. I just thought it was like really funny.
And how did it make you feel?
When he said that, like I wanted to fucking kill him.
Exactly, it made it worse.
It made it worse. And, it was like, at first I was like, yeah, I am calm. And then he persisted, he kept pressing those buttons. It's like, no, you just need to relax. It was like projection and gaslighting, and I just wanted to kill him, because that's what they do. They want to get a reaction out of you. If you like stand firmly with firm resolve and state a bold fact about something that's not right or your own opinion, they will butt in and say, oh, you need to relax, this is wrong, you can't say that. And
You're not allowed to have feelings about this.
yeah, essentially. And it was like, yeah, I was calm and relaxed, but now
I'm not after you said
yeah,
to be. Yeah.
you just.
What if he told you to be angry? Be angry now. Would it have made you more relaxed or more angry?
Yeah, more relaxed. Ironically, because when you validate the anger, it's like, thank you. It's a relief,
Yes.
You feel like, well, actually, like deep down, or if they say you should be more angry about this, I was like, actually, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should feel more anger, and I've just maybe been suppressing the anger. Because, if you look at the Dr. David Hawkins scale of vibration, anger is actually quite high up there on the vibrational scale. It's way above fear, shame, guilt, and, just above anger is, I think, pride or courage.
Yes.
But anger is actually quite a high vibration. And most people live below that vibration of anger, which is basically fear or guilt.
It's like what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You move from fight response
Yeah.
to flight, fawn, and freeze.
Yeah.
Fight is the highest of those four.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flight,
it's the highest vibration.
fawn,
Yeah.
and freeze is the lowest because it's like you're dead.
Exactly.
Like you're literally dead when you're frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the lowest vibration is death, because, and then shame, guilt, fear, and then anger. Once you're in anger, because anger is actually, you're moving energy, and you need to feel that, the fury. What a beautiful word, fury. And fury it sounds like fire, fury, fire. And you need to have that fire, really. And my father was toxically passive, completely codependent, passive, practically so like how not to be a man. I was never taught how to be a man, and my mother took all the masculine energy, all the dick energy, and at least she has a fiery temperament, but that took the wind out of my sails, in a sense. But at least
An example.
that fire is an example that can be utilized, And yes, it's okay to get angry because society fucking hates it. It's like, oh no, here's a troublemaker. Oh, let's put this person on a blacklist,
I put them on a blacklist.
Yeah.
Most people will say that.
Because if you're a cold, calculated, slimy diplomat, which is what I've been trying to be in my whole life, it doesn't work because inside you're fucking dying. You're dying on the inside. You feel your insides like, what am I doing? I'm trying to keep it on a level. I'm trying not to rock the boat. But you can't, really.
Walking on eggshells.
The warrior archetype is so suppressed in society. It really is.
Yeah. It's all very mental now. It's all about being a robot.
Yeah. So we have 5 minutes left for this session. One more question to wrap this one up is, okay, why does the narcissist lure people in and then kind of repel them? I've noticed this as a phenomenon. There's the attraction, like it's like when you're like walking and then it's like the narcissist has their own kind of black hole orbit and you feel like, oh, I'm going to go into this. It's like being vacuumed in, you know.
He
And you're
wants
like,
to eat
oh,
the cake, but not have it. He wants to
exactly,
have a supply, but without the intimacy,
exactly. Yeah,
because intimacy requires vulnerability.
yeah,
It's always the fear of being exposed, of being found out, that he is indeed as insecure as he feels, but other people will notice that. The imposter syndrome and the paranoia of being discovered for the fraud that the narcissist is. And when he is discovered, then his biggest fear comes true, when he will be rejected and abandoned, as he deserves to be. Ironically, he is creating those situations himself by being completely fake, because he's trying so hard to compensate for that fear.
yeah, yeah, true. Like, when it comes to me and dating or whatever dating, as they say, I've had plenty of friends say, oh, Jesse, you're such a good looking guy. And in social situations, you're so confident. It's like, why do you have issues with, intimacy or, with women? And it's like, deep down, I'm just fucking terrified. And, I feel insecure and I fear rejection, And
You feel like they will see something that your mother saw. It's this fear that we have from our mother. What we are afraid of her to do, then we afraid of other people doing the same thing. I
yeah,
have this thing as well. I am always, I still have this thing. I've worked on it so much, I am aware of its psychology, but I still have it. I'm afraid that people lash out on me, that they get angry at me, because
yeah,
I asserted a boundary, because I
yeah,
said no,
yeah.
because I asked for what I
No,
want. How dare
no.
you ask what you want? My brain knows they're not going to be angry, or they have
Yeah.
no reason to be, but my body thinks they're just irrational, stupid little cunts, and they will lash out for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
My body literally still believes that. It
Yeah.
used to be so bad it has regulated me constantly.
Wow.
But now it's just like, okay, I expect this. And now I have to be like, okay, I can feel that my body is expecting this. No, go away. I know this is not true. Lie. I'm
Yeah.
not going to project this. I know they are not crazy like my body tells me they are.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I just then, okay, even if they are crazy, I don't care. I will still assert my boundary.
Yeah.
I have to, because we tried the other thing, we tried everything else. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's not fucking working. So stop. No, we're not going there anymore. Not going there. I'm not fawning, hiding, being overly diplomatic, overly nice. No more nice.
Mm.
Right? The etymology of nice, we know the word.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Let's read this up. What is the etymology of nice again? Let me look it up. So the etymology of nice, pleasing and agreeable.
Hmm.
It also means needy, poor, simple, stupid, silly, foolish, ignorant, unaware, timid, faint-hearted, fragile, fussy. No more nice.
No more Mr. Nice Guy and gals. On that note, thank you for watching part 3 and more to come. See you
See you.
soon.